Hey, welcome back to the channel, Beyond Schizophrenia. It's been a little bit since I made a video, but we're gonna try to pick that up again. In this video, I'm gonna talk about. I want to continue on from the power of hope. It's a video I did a little while back, Beyond Schizophrenia and the Power of Hope, and I want to expand a little bit on it. And so I've been looking up what others are saying about hope. I want to see if there's any evidence or so forth, and you know people trying to prove things whether they exist or not. Sometimes we gotta see, touch, taste, hear, smell in order to know something is real. So since we can't do either of that with hope, I want to know if people actually, it's like from a scientific perspective or whatnot, just know if it is it real. So I decided to look it up, and I found a lot of stuff on it. One thing interested to me was this guy named Doctor, I guess, Charles Richard Snyder, and he did this this piece called the Hope Theory, and that's what I want to look at. I want us to look at that a bit and see. That's interesting, I found, and I also listened to some other people on YouTube, and there's a world of stuff out there, man. There's all kinds of people talking about the power of hope. Everybody believes in it, and not one of us has seen it, tasted it, touched it, smelt it. So I was really excited, and I, check these things out, look at what people are saying, listen to what people are saying, and just to, maybe recognize that there's more hope and there's more light in recovery from schizophrenia as we might have thought, and even just our the challenges in life in general. So let's take a look at what Snyder is saying. Snyder's Hope Theory. So what is Snyder's Hope Theory? Charles Richard Snyder was an American psychologist specialized in positive psychology. He garnered international fame for his work in clinical, social, personality, and health psychology. His theories from the 80s and 90s relate to, among other things, human responses to personal feedback, human need for uniqueness, and the hope motive. Based on Snyder's work, more studies were conducted to link increased levels of hope to academic and athletic performance and physical health and well-being. By helping people become so-called high hopers, they gain a more positive outlook on life. In simplified terms, this is what Snyder's Hope Theory is about. Now, I wish they did include, they've done more study on the mental health and well-being in this study as well. So, but there are three components within Snyder's Hope Theory. When talking about Snyder's Hope Theory, it's helpful to first define the word hope. Hope can be seen as the perceived ability to walk certain paths leading to a desired destination. In addition, hope helps people stay motivated when walking these paths. Hope consists of both cognitive elements and affective elements. Snyder's Hope Theory includes goals, paths, and freedom of choice. According to him, there are at least three components that people can relate to hope being. You need to have focused thoughts, so it goes to the cognitive elements. And so you need to have focused thoughts. When I was going through getting through schizophrenia, or at least when I was determined to overcome that illness, I had to first had a focused mindset on where I wanted to go. And the destination I saw was to be free. No more mind that's out of control, no more hearing voices, no more the paranoia, and all these things were at the destination, they were gone. Right? And that was always the goal. Every day, I had to keep that. It was hard to forget because all those things were with me every day. So, I had to keep that in mind. And two, you must develop strategies in advance in order to achieve these goals, right? So, and that's true for me. The strategies were, to, like I said, I just stopped looking at the things that were contrary to my intention, right? I stopped looking at the things that were contrary to the way I want to think and the way I want to feel, and I embraced the things that I wanted, right? And so it was basic for me. It wasn't anything difficult. There was nothing hard in concept. I just have to kind of embrace what I wanted and let go what I didn't want, right? So it was for me, that was the path was strategy was pretty basic. And three, you have to be motivated to make the effort required to actually reach these goals. So to be motivated, yeah, you gotta. For me, I couldn't face the day with anxiety. When in the morning, I couldn't wake up and thinking, oh, it's gonna be a horrible day of more voices and more this and more that, and talking to people, and my voice is my mind's gonna be out of control, and so forth like that. I couldn't think like that at all. I had to look at the day. It was another challenge, and it was great. I'm gonna have a good day. I'm gonna, it's just, it was the things that I wanted that was gonna happen that day, and I had to face the day with that attitude, right, and be motivated to take on whatever comes, right. So it's definitely interesting. So the more the individual believes in their own ability to achieve the components listed above, the greater the chance that they will develop a feeling of hope. And that's the thing, hope, it starts, especially in a difficult situation where we can't really see the outcome. Hope starts off as just a glimmer, just a possibility, right? And we recognize that there's always two forces at work in us, right? There's always two forces. The Buddhists, I think it's Buddhists call this the yin and the yang, the push and the pull, the light and the dark. You know, we, so it's the struggle. It's the same struggle within us when it comes to reaching for something like hope, because we tend to want to lean to the natural, or part of us want to lean to the natural state of fear and anxieties and doubt, and all these things that are just we just naturally surrender to. But yet another part of us wants to reach for something that we might deem improbable, but is there a possibility? So it's just a glimmer. It's not yet in full view, right? So it is a struggle to develop that feeling. It's a struggle to get that vision into clear view. So the more we can strengthen the positivity, the more we can strengthen we can feed that light. The more we can commit to the things that we want, the more we can lean towards those things. The brighter they become, right? And the other things, the negativities, the doubts, the fear, those things fade, right? They become weaker, while the other things become stronger. The good things that we want become stronger, right? And so hope becomes brighter as a result. But it goes through the avenue of free will, free moral agency, the avenue of just we have to choose. Pathways and agency thinking. Goals are abstract and mental. They have the power to guide human behavior. Snyder noticed that much of human behavior is goal-oriented. In addition to the previously mentioned components, Snyder's Hope theory therefore distinguishes two other factors, important factors that influence movement towards the goal. Influence movement, right? So it's a process where we are going into a direction. So pathways thinking. This is about the human ability to generate different pathways from the present to the desired future. Pathways focus on the perceived ability to plan multiple routes. This is about the cognitive ability to produce a pathway that leads to the goal and to first think about it. So, we have the goal, right? We have the goal and the destination. Now we need a path towards it. Doesn't matter where you're going to go, whether it's in your house, whether it's to work, to the grocery store, there's a path to that destination. Sometimes we have a destination in mind and we never been there before. We don't know how to get there. So we have to plan a route. We have to pull up a map. All right. And we have to think about how we're going to get there. What are the obstacles? Where am I going to turn? And we think about that. And that now by having, it's a lot different when we do take those measures versus if we just jump in our vehicles and decide to go find out if we know where we're going. Let's go give it a shot. That way we don't have much hope of reaching it. We don't know where we're going, but we're gonna try for it. If we just jump in our vehicles and go, it's gonna be a different attitude. It's gonna be a different. It's gonna produce a different feeling, right? It's gonna give us more hopelessness than hope. But when we plan out a route and we study it and we know what to expect on the roads and some certain turns or certain whatever it is, it gives us more of a hopeful feeling. We leave with a different attitude, right? So it's the mind creates this path, right? We see it in our mind, we envision it, and we can be more joyful on the road because we already confirmed that we're going to reach the destination. We follow the map, right? So we can rejoice. We can enjoy the trip, so agency thinking, this refers to the level of intention, confidence, and the human ability to actually follow those different pathways to the desired future. The belief and positive motivation to follow the path are key here. This is about affective ability. So, it's about having the right emotion, the right kind of feelings towards the possibility of reaching a goal. So attitude matters. For when I was going through the schizophrenia thing, my attitude was positive. It had to be. I felt like how can I have hope of reaching destination and I'm not not positive in attitude? It doesn't make no sense. I couldn't say I have hope and I'm depressed. I couldn't say I'm hope and I'm talking all negative like. That means I don't see hope. It means this hope is just floating in the air. There's no conviction. I'm not convinced of the hope. And I'm just hoping, thinking, wishing that it's real, that I'll reach there, and then I'm just not settled, right? So the hope has to be settled, right? If it's settled, I can be more positive. And it doesn't mean the hope's going to be settled right away, because like I said, it's going to be a struggle sometimes, especially to achieve something that's deemed highly unlikely, impossible, highly improbable, right? So the thing that if I'm convinced of it, then I'm going to have a good attitude. And that's the thing, is where we have to struggle for it. We have to lean towards it, and to really, first it comes through the doorway of the mind, right? We have to first filter it through there. We bring it through, and then once we can, it turns in our mind, and there's going to be the things that try to pull it out. Is going to be, yeah, but this doctor said, but it's impossible, but it's nonsense, but this, but that, but yeah, but all the things trying to butt it out. But once we can get all that nonsense out, and we can see the possibility, and we can really accept it, then guess what? It trickles down and it drops into the heart, right? That's when we really believe. That's when we're convinced. That's when things start to change. because it's no longer turning in the mind. It's no longer just there, just hitting around from yes, no, maybe so, yes. You know what I mean? It falls deeper into the consciousness, into the subconscious. You know what I mean? Where it's just settled. And now, but to get it there, we have to first lean towards the positive things. We have to first kick the doubts out, kick all the buts out, and the yes, that's gonna be in. That's gonna be what settles it. So and by that gives us a better is an attitude all the way down. It doesn't mean, like I said, we're not gonna have challenges, we're not gonna have doubts and fears. Those are gonna come, but it's the response to those things that matters. Right? So positive emotion, the goals themselves also play an important role in Snyder's Hope theory. Goals that are valuable but uncertain are described as the anchors of Snyder's Hope theory. They offer direction and guide you to the final destination. Right? So goals that are deemed improbable, right? That's the or at least uncertain. They are that's kind of what schizophrenia is. It's going to be an uncertainty for sure. It is an uncertainty because it's not like everyone's walking around and who had schizophrenia and saying, yeah, I got through, or yeah, I know where I'm going. I'm going to get through this. It's not something that everyone has and then gets through it, and it's just something that's ingrained in our society. No, on the contrary, what's ingrained in our society is that it's impossible. It's not. There's no cure. You gotta. You know what I mean? What's ingrained is this notion that we want. It's a life sentence. So naturally, that's what we accept, right? So it definitely fits the criteria for for hope to really shine, right? It's necessary for this. They offer direction and start that over. The goals themselves also play an important role in Snyder's Hope theory. Goals that are valuable but uncertain are described as the anchors of Snyder's Hope theory. They offer direction and guide you to the final destination. Barriers can also play a role. They make it difficult to reach the goals. Exactly. There's a barrier. If there's a barrier, an easy solution would be to quit, unless pathways thinking is strengthened to create a new pathway. Exactly. So that's what it is sometimes, to have hope. It's difficult. And there's always going to be challenges, but the challenges aren't necessarily there. They're there to stop you, but it's like stepping stones or stumbling stones. Some people will come up to against an obstacle and they'll stumble. Another person will use it to strengthen themselves. They'll overcome that obstacle. And as by overcoming it, they rise as a result. So reaching goals will happen more easily if emotions are positive. Exactly. In many cases, barriers lead to negative emotions. By coming up with new alternative pathways, the conviction and motivation from agency thinking is activated. And recognize the word conviction. That's what's necessary, right? We must have that conviction that, there's nothing going to stand our way. We must see the possibility, and there is no and if or buts. There's just it has to be something, like I said, reach down into our hearts. As long as it's in the mind, and it's still not settled. But once it reaches in the heart, that's the conviction. And then we can come up against these obstacles and we'll just kick them out the way. Right? So for me, how I done that was just whenever these voices would come up and I wake up and they're there. Wake up, Paul. Wake up, sleepyhead. I'm not paying them attention. I gave thanks for the quietness. I gave thanks for the peace. I was grateful for all those. I'm not paying attention, all the cursings and the things that was come in my mind. I would give thanks. I was thankful not for the voices. I was thankful for the quiet. I was thankful for the peace. And that's what I was looking at. So I leaned more to that, and what I leaned to, I gave life to those things, and they came to life. And the other things, the life in them left, because it was my mind was my mind that strengthened them or killed them, right? It's my mind that strengthened the quietness, the peace, whatever it is that I wanted, or killed it, right? So I had to, by recognizing what I wanted, I gave life to that by continue to feeding it with my attention, with my love, with my care. I gave life to it, and it grew in strength. And by not looking at the things that I didn't want, they died, right? I didn't feed it. I didn't feed those things, and they died, starved. So reaching goals will happen more easily if emotions are positive. In many cases, barriers lead to negative emotions. By coming up with new alternative pathways, the conviction and motivation from agency thinking is reactivated, making it possible to reach the goals sooner. Barriers are then considered challenges, not permanent roadblocks. The key in Snyder's Hope theory requires different pathways to a goal and intention to stick to those pathways. It's about a cyclical relationship between pathways and agency thinking, with pathways thinking leading to more routes. Development of more routes in turn leads to agency thinking and positive emotions. Essentially, what it's saying is, it's about an attitude that will not take no for an answer, right? The reason why it talks about creating new pathways and it leading to more routes is because when you reach an obstacle, we won't turn back. There's no turning back. There's no quitting. All right. This is a war. This is a battle, right? And when we reach an obstacle, when we reach a roadblock, something is an enemy. It's an enemy in our way. All right. And when we have something valuable on the other side and it's not theirs, we're not going to take something that belongs to somebody else. This is a piece of us that's been captured by an enemy. We are therefore there is no turning back. We're going through one way or another way. That's what it means. All right. This is not we're armed from the head to the toe, but there's nothing covering the back, because there is no retreat. There is no surrender. We are going forward. That's it. You see, that's why it talks about different pathways, because it's just we finding a route. No in and if or buts about it. That's the conviction we're going through. So asking questions, in order to get a confident start in Snyder's Hope theory, it helps to ask different questions such as, what is going on? Where do I want to go? And what is stopping me? These are typical pathways thinking questions. From agency thinking, you would ask questions such as, which strengths can I use to achieve my goal? Which aspects of my current situation work to my advantage? And when was I successful in similar situations in the past, and why? So that's it. That's Lucas Snyder's hope theory, and I suggest check it out for yourselves, and just kind of get a familiarity with it and familiarize with it. Also, just look into the whole hope itself, as a tool, because it is a tool. It is a weapon for us, and we need to utilize it more effectively in our lives, not just on the things that were just built in naturally, like we just naturally lean to, but the things that are challenging. All right, we need to be confronting some of the things that we've been running from, and that we fear, and that we are pretty much seemingly cut off from hope from. Well, we need to give life to those part of our lives. All right, because there is nobody else coming in there to save us. All right, we have to go out there and we have to fight. We have to get on the battlefield, and we have to take back what was taken from us. All right, so we need to put more energy in those directions, and to recognize those parts of ourselves that we've been told are dead, but not really dead. And if they are dead, we can give life to them once again. So I'm probably going to end this video in a minute or so. That wasn't my intention to end it right now, actually. because I want to talk about this other part to it that goes with Snyder's hope theory, or really just hope itself in general. Because I think it is a foundational piece. I would say, so that, but at least until then, at least we can hope somebody can benefit from the things that I talked about, and like I said, really investigate it more, and that we start using the power of hope in a conscious manner rather than unconsciously, right? Because it's something that is intrinsic to our being, and we use it whether we recognize it or not. But to recognize it, it gives us more control over our lives, and whether it's things that might be difficult, extraordinarily difficult, or really deemed impossible, like schizophrenia, recovering from schizophrenia fully. We can start really making those changes and really seeing that impossibilities aren't necessarily impossibilities. There's a way. And so hopefully somebody got something from that, and we'll meet you again and really try to pick up from here and get us grounded, so that we're not left just floating. So until next time, be good, be well, and stay healthy. God bless.